A very good evening, and you're welcome to the Agafiire Week Show every single Friday right here on Elkem TV. My name is Urban Brown. One more time, I want to welcome you for this particular show that actually happens every single Friday from the hours of 5 to the hours of 6. And right here and to the site, I always come about with a couple of people, a couple of scrutinizers that you always know into the house. We talk about a couple of things. We talk about what has transpired through the week. So, before I get to proceed with the show, just allow me give an opportunity to my analysts into the house to also introduce themselves to the viewers of Elkem TV, and we get to proceed with the reason why we are actually right here this beautiful Friday. Anaba Moses, you're most welcome down to the sites of Elkem TV, and I pray that you get to greet the viewers of Elkem TV.
Thank you very much. I want to say good evening, our viewers of Elkem TV. We appreciate and welcome you to today's program. As usual, we shall be driving you up to that time. I think what you have just to do is getting sticked with us as you follow and know what transpires last week, this week, and also what will happen next. So I welcome you, West Nile's ambassador, and Moses the Great is my name.
Okay, thank you very much, West Nile's ambassador, for coming through and being live onto the sites of Elkem TV. One more time, Mr. Kangao Yeseri, thanks for being onto the panel, and I pray that you get to greet the viewers of Elkem TV. We proceed with the show as well.
Well, Kangao Yeseri is my name, a teacher, a sign language interpreter,
yes,
but also a founder of Masindi Home Care for persons with disability. I'm here on the panel. I look forward to enjoying a nice deliberation with you, and I send all my greetings to all those who are tuned on.
Okay, thank you very much one more time, Mr. Kangao Yeseri, for coming through and being on two other sites of Elkem TV. One more time, just allow me to take this opportunity to appreciate whoever is actually watching Elkem TV right now, and you always tune on to Agafiire Week Show, wherever you're catching it from. Pick up on yourself, and thanks for whoever is just joining up. Thanks for also joining up the show. We're going to have actually a couple of things that we're going to talk about. I pray that you just keep locked into the site as we actually move into the real gist of this particular show. Before I get into a break, just allow me move into some news items that have transpired throughout the week, and when I complete, I shall actually get into a short break and then return with the real stories in detail. This very week there's been a couple of things that have transpired throughout the week, right from Friday that we were here and today. This very week, and as we were ending last week, we also the Uganda Matters Day celebrations at Namugongo that were also officiated by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and the First Lady were actually appeared at the commemoration that was at Namugongo. And away from there, we actually see we actually see this very week the city cleaners are striking at URA offices that is in Kampala over late payments. And from that story, this very week, as we actually as we're ending at the other previous week, that was over the weekend, we saw the opening of Nakivubo Stadium, that is you can simply call it Ham Stadium, and whereby Kitara Football Club lost on 0-3 to that is URA. And away from that story, we also get into another story. We see the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, you can simply call her the AAA, awarding the Uganda Cranes ahead of the World Cup qualifiers at Mandela National Stadium. You can simply call it Nambole Stadium. And away from there, last week we also saw a story whereby one of the producers, that's one of the famous producers in Uganda, that is producer Didi, actually being admitted to hospital in a critical condition. But this very week we have seen him coming out, trying to actually confirm that he's positively living. And away from that story, we also get to see some 6 lives being lost by electrocution. And still moving on, we get to see moving back to yesterday's stories, we also see His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, addressing the nation. And away from there, we also saw Nyangaya Division passing out their budget for 2024-2025, the budget for 2024-2025. And still moving on to the other stories, we see one that is Majaju, one of the radio presenters in Masindi, by a famous radio known as Radio 7, actually being being voted out of as a Myoga chairperson of Masindi journalist. Just keep locked as we coming in with more stories. But before we get into a short break, I also want to remind you that we have also this week seen Norbert Mao having his wedding. You can simply call him the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs. Let's just move into a short break and keep locked. And when we get back, we should actually be dredging deep into the stories that have transpired this very week. One more time, welcome back from the commercial break. My name is Urban Brown, and I welcome you back from that short commercial break. Briefly, before we got into our break, I'd actually talked about the headlines that have actually transpired throughout the week. One more time, I want to appreciate whoever's actually joined up the show. Thanks for joining up Agafiire week every single Friday, and we love you back as you also love watching Elkem TV. We have a lot for you. Just keep locked till the last minute of this particular show. And as right now, just allow me indulge into the real stories that have actually transpired throughout the week. And I'll start with the local stories that have actually come out of Masindi district. Today we have actually seen Radio 7 morning show presenter, that is Majaju, actually being voted out as the chairperson for Myoga under of Masindi Journalist Association. And we actually being voted out, we have seen Emron Onduparaka taking up the seats on different actually reasons that are not actually can't be explained. But on to what I'm actually getting to see is his time has actually moved down, because they are supposed to move a span of 2 years. But according to me, I want to talk to, let me start with Andama Moses. We have seen the chairperson for Emyoga for your Masindi journalist being voted out, that is Majaju. And a blessing to me for the time that he has been in this opportunity. I see him towards this position. Now, having voted somebody new, don't you see that there is how it's going to disturb the movement of the organization?
Thank you very much. We have seen several leaders. Leaders come, leaders go. And at times you find the new one who comes with the different ideas and the things progress better than what was before. But also at times the new ones may come and spoil. So here we cannot say, but constitutionally and Emyoga, after 2 years, you are supposed to elect new leaders. Yes. So implying if members appreciate the work you are doing, definitely you have to retain your position in your respective position. So Majaju was not the only person who was voted out. Actually, we also had his deputy, that's Atuganyira Innocent. But with him, he just said he has served enough and is not coming to that position. So his position was taken by Okum Robert. Yes. Okum Robert took his position, that's for Innocent Atuganyira. But yes, members resolved and said, no, this time around, we need a new chairperson whom we think is competent enough to lead us. And you know, when people come and when you do good, you always appreciated. So I think if they were to give him another term, it could imply that he has been serving well. But members were like, I think it is enough. It is enough for you. Let us also try another person and see if there is a change. But also if there is no change, of course we shall also elect a new member. Okay. But I think my brother Majaju, this is how things run. You don't own something, you don't own position, you don't own, that is an association. New leaders have to come, new members has to come, and if it is your time, that is it. So they have elected, and we have seen chairperson has been Ronald Matuga, been elected, vice chairperson Okum Robert. Then secretary Stephen Wandera retained his position. Treasurer Mariam Nakasinde retained his position. Then mobilizer Alfred Bisobora, aka that is Sereve. Those who used to hear to Radio Ktara, he used to be called Sereve with Gajoina, that's Washington. Then other members, that's the Nabule Serifa, Kabageni Marion, Alnaito Delazio, that's the Kirembwe Kajumba Musa Lakesam. Those are members. Okay. Then supervisory committee chairperson Moses Muruli, then Moses Andama, member, James Alinda, member. Loans committee, Nakasinde Mariam as the chairperson, Businge Robert aka Washington, member, Atura Charity, member. So those are elections for today's Masindi journalist Emyoga Sako. I think those members are competent enough until otherwise.
Okay, thank you very much for actually giving us that update, Mr. Andaba Moses, and trying to scrutinize it more to the viewers of Elkem TV. Moving right back to my next right, Kangao Yaseri. We have actually seen a change into the Masindi journalist circle, whereby we see one of the radio presenters of Radio 7, that is Majaju, the morning show presenter, being voted out. But based on the communication that I'm seeing onto the media, is like he's not actually impressed of what has come out. Is this how we should do? Is this how we should go about? Is this how people should go about to positions in case they are voted out? You start actually expressing being not satisfied of something. Is it this the best way of going about? You start dropping out comments, or it's not something so clear? What is your say about that?
Well, one thing I want to start with is to say that I really love Majaju as a person. He's a great presenter in Radio 7. When he's seated behind the mic, you really feel his voice. He really flows very well. I really like his shows. Yeah. But also the other fact, which is a bit hard in nature to digest, is that Emyoga as an association is not a private property.
Yes.
It is an association, as you hear. So when the journalists were entrusting him with that office, it was not that they were giving it to him to take home. No. He also clearly knew that there are term limits. So maybe perhaps the other thing maybe that he could simply complain is for him to wait when he has traveled, he's not around, and then the vote is happening. But even still, it doesn't affect much. Even if he was around or whether he was not around, after all, he knew the date. Was it not communicated early in advance?
It was communicated, yes.
So if he just found himself at crossroads, he has some other appointments somewhere else, well, it's not anyone's fault. The Constitution is clear. After 2 years, we give the liberty back to the other members to make a decision whether we give him back or not.
Yes.
It's entirely the decision of the members. I don't think there is any kind of corruption there. No, it is purely natural. I think the members did a great job. Of course, it is only natural that sometimes when we get into an office or in a position of service, sometimes we get too comfortable. That we
forget about the times.
When the time for coming out comes, when members vote us out, we feel like we've been rubbed the wrong way. You know, like for a dog, it enjoys it when you're rubbing it from the head sloping. But when you reverse the process, it really feels hard. So maybe he got too comfortable that by now he has forgotten that 2 years have elapsed. Or he somehow expected that miraculously
maybe would retain the position.
Yeah, but we should never get that too comfortable. He should simply be grateful that the members were able to entrust him with for those past 2 years, and he should just cool down. If you know, Jesus once said that if you can't be faithful in what is small, you cannot be faithful in what is much.
Yes.
You can imagine that is a very small position, being a chairperson of Emyoga. What if tomorrow we are thinking of making him chairperson of LC3, entrusting him with a full division, or a district chairman LC5? Will he then kill everybody and remain in power?
Okay, that is actually very beautiful. I appreciate that very beautiful opinion towards that. But in other words, I want to actually congratulate you, Majaju, for your span that you've actually served under as a chairperson of Emyoga Circle and the Journalist Association. So it is a very beautiful, and we pray that God graces you over the services that you've given out. And away from there, actually moving on to some other stories that have actually transpired out this very week in Masindi. Also get to see that Nyanga division passing out their budget for 2024-2025, passing out their budget, annual budget for 2024-2025 financial budget. And Mr. Producer, I pray that you actually try to put it onto the screens so that viewers of Elkem TV can get to see what actually was passed out. And based on the information and the whatever that we've gotten right here, we get to see that as the division, they actually passed a budget of over 15,470,593 South, and has a financial budget for the whole financial year, that is 2024-2025. Mr. Producer, try to display it right there so that the viewers can simply get to know what is actually happening to districts of Masindi. And surprisingly, getting into this very budget, I'm kind of surprised of some items that have actually not been given so much attention that I want us to actually try to look onto and try to elaborate. Is it the best way, or maybe they still lacked to actually include some of or to intensify onto the budget? And having looked into the budget, Mr. Kangao Yesedi, we have seen, Mr. Andama Moses,
yes.
We have seen onto this budget as of Nyanga division, education being given 700,000 as a financial year budget. Do you see 700,000 being able to finance education in the whole year?
We have seen here lion share.
Yes.
Going to administration. Administration has taken the lion share. And the list is Education, 700,000.
700,000.
Nyangaya division, actually, as a division. Maybe, I don't know which criteria or research that are based on to give education that amount. Because really, if Ministry for Education was to go through this budget, I think they may say education has no value here.
Value, actually.
Education has not been valued for sure. 700,000 for education.
Running
and,
the division.
And where is the future of learners in Nyangaya division, if I am to ask? Maybe for government schools, but still this, you know, Masindi municipality has a budget of, that is 11 billion.
11 billion.
For the whole year.
For the whole year, yes.
For the whole financial year. So you may find that Nyangaya division being allocated this budget of 15, they have passed the budget of
15 million.
15 million. 15 million, yes. So there are very many divisions actually, but I think Nyangaya division as themselves. This budget might be worse to them, but you know also government has put money in different projects. And we have been seeing people crying and being given little money, even including Masindi district. Of recent, they also passed their budget of 36 billion. That was the Masindi district, the whole Masindi district passed a budget of 36 billion.
Yes.
But in that, the biggest share had gone to infrastructure. Infrastructure, and also we saw education. But each division has their own priority and what they are basing on. So if they think that administrations will take much share than education, they might have seen what it is supposed to be. Because Nyangaya division also is not big enough. I've ever gone there, I've attended their council. They had issues, even they are battling issues at court with the Oscar Vaitwa, claiming the owners, the whole sub-county. That land is his. So those people are battling, they have issues, they have areas. If
So
they have
should we say these are the issues that have kind of affected the budget?
Yeah, it might be. Likely that might be part of it. But still, that budget for education is very, very little indeed. But I think if they are given enough money, it depends on what they have allocated to them. But they think, basing on theirs, that is worse. For education.
Okay. So thank you very much for actually giving us those highlights. Now moving back to Kangao Yeseri. I've actually seen onto the budget that was actually proven by Nyangaya division and passed for 2024-2025 financial year. But we have seen a total of around 15,470,593,000. But out of the 15 million, and those those few amounts that are there, we see only 700,000 that has been passed up, has been passed on education, and as strategically been seen onto the standards of education in Masindi, we're actually bad. But do you see 700,000 being enough to finance education for the whole year in the division?
Yeah, even before I give my take, I want first of all to sympathize with that division. When it comes to collecting the local revenue, it has actually been one of the most struggling divisions in the entire Masindi district.
And worst performers.
Why? Because they, if I can be straight, they don't have proper sources of revenue. Right now, as we talk, that division is only surviving on two sources of income. Number one, just the taxes they are collecting from the shops and the businesses.
Shop attendants.
Yeah. And that is very small money. And then the other money they are getting is they are getting it from these construction projects. You know, before you construct
the plan, whatever. Yes.
Yeah, there must be some money you pay. So the division ideally right now is surviving on only those two. Not so long ago, you should be able to remember that they once had a market called Kwatamigo.
It is true, yes.
Now, we had high hopes that that division was really going to feed from the taxes that that market was going to bring.
Provide, yes.
But you know, for some reason, that market performed very poorly. And as we talk now, the market collapsed.
Collapsed, yes.
It is not in function. And then they also opened up another one. You remember the other, was it Ihunga?
Ihungu.
Yeah, from Ihungu.
Yes, yes.
The new one, Ihungu market. It also somehow
performed
a bit, yeah, but briefly, somehow,
collapsed.
the traders, for some reason, I don't know, the market also collapsed. So those two markets actually, they really brought problems to that division. And you know, those were the two ones the division was actually having high hopes in. Now, once those two things happened, it actually started to suffer from its sources of revenue. But when I looked at this budget, I immediately looked for the speaker of that division. Is Mr. Joseph Baguma.
Joseph Baguma, yes.
Now, when I asked him things from the shops around and the few taxes from the construction projects in the division, or do you have any other vision? He told me, yes, it is a very big challenge, but he revealed to me some plan they are having as an entire division.
Yes.
You remember that market, as we've already discussed, the Kwatamigo market? In total, roughly, it is sitting on maybe about 5 acres of land. So as a division, they are having a thought of transforming it from a market, since it collapsed, now to a garden. You know what they are planning is to plant sugarcane on it, and then after planting sugarcane, and then they will be selling them to
some funds,
so that then the proceeds, then they will be sending them to the treasury of the division. So hopefully, when that happens, then perhaps it will be a big answer to this 700,000 they have allocated to the
maybe in addition
education.
Moving back to that very division, that is Nyangaya division, they have been having a community school operating down the other side, going to Hoima, but it's kind of not performing. I don't know how the division itself has come into support with this 700,000 to make sure that the school revives to its normal standard, because currently the community withdrew. So we actually seeing the standard of education in Nyangaya being a problem. And
you know, talk about that secondary school, because when you look at the crisis they are having education-wise, they don't have any secondary school there.
Is government.
Yeah, that is government. In fact, maybe the nearby one, you could think of, it could be Jordan SS. It is a private school. But now I want you to think of children who are walking in from Kamuras. How about from these?
Maybe amongst all the schools that secondary schools that I'm seeing in Nyangaya division, the cheapest could be Greenfield. Yes.
But for me, I'm looking at distance. Imagine the children who are staying in Kamuras, around Kamuras, and then the other side of Busy. Do you look at the distance from, and what about the girl children? What happens? The distance can easily discourage the child, the morale of studying. How about the weather?
Looking right at this side of Kamuras, there is no any secondary school.
There is no secondary school, really. So that community school was a perfect answer to that solution. But again, given the challenges of lack of funds, even the community, as you mentioned, it somehow is not supportive, very supportive.
Yes.
So there is kind of withdrew. Now the whole load is on the local government there,
yes.
the division at the division level. So really, when you look at 700,000, you see the most annoying bit to me, as Kangao is one. Our government has money, but what annoys me is we have very poor prioritization. Yes. Like, for example, look at that budget. As Andam has mentioned, the lion's share has gone to what? To administration.
Yes.
And they have given it 62 million.
Yes.
When education is 700,000 the whole year, what can 700 do? Really? For example,
Yes.
okay, let's put maybe education aside. The next one is health. Have you checked?
Yes.
They have given it less than 2 million.
Just 1.2?
Yeah, just 0.2.
Yes.
And
just
then
1.2.
the entire financial year. What is that? What is really that? And you see, what is happening here in Nyanga division is the same thing that is happening up to the Masindi municipal, up to the district level, up to the national level.
Yes.
Somehow we have this feeling that let the leaders live a good life at the expense of education, at the expense of health. You see what we are battling with Parliament. The parliamentary committee, they are happy to eat 1.7 billions and only 4 people just eat it. Mpuga eats 500 millions and I'm telling you the schools.
Millions of people are suffering.
Really? It is just lack of prioritization as even reflected even here in this budget.
Okay, thank you very much for having that great submission, Mr. Kanga Oyeseri. One more time, I want us to, before we get into a break, I want us to look at the Uganda Matters Day celebrations that actually came about in Namugongo. Yeah, and over 3 million pilgrims attended this commemoration. Mr. Andama Moses, we have seen a number of times Ugandans trying to commemorate not only Ugandans, but the entire world. People come from different parts of the world trying to commemorate the Uganda Matters Day, that is at Namugongo. This commemoration this time around called it was over about 3 million people that actually attended this very commemoration. But in regards to the commemoration, or maybe besides the commemoration, or looking at Namugongo has a memorial ground or a memorial shrine, what other functions does Namugongo, or actually importances does Namugongo have for Uganda as a nation?
Thank you very much. Actually, matters, you know, those people sacrificed themselves and they showed love and commitment to their God.
Religion,
however much they were tortured, but they said, no, let us die. And as long as we believe and we have faith, they were killed and indeed made their souls rest in eternal peace.
Yes.
You know, it is not easy. It is only few who can sacrifice their lives.
That is true.
When they have smelled. There are some people who always say, if we knew or we could have eyes to see death coming like this, no one could accept to die. You could just take off.
Yeah.
But those ones, they told the king, come rain, come sunshine, we are dying. And indeed, they were killed. So from there up to now, those people are heroes and they are worth to be commemorated.
Yes.
But normally, every 3rd of June is actually a public holiday and it is dedicated to those faithful people who sacrifice their lives. People come from all over the world, they come and commemorate. And others have believed that whenever they come there, at least they experience new things or change in their lives. Others come there expecting blessings. Others come for business purpose.
Yes.
You know, people have different ways of actually achieving whenever they come for Matters Day. But also as a country, it is also a source of income because that is business. Business booms, and you know, Uganda, some of those people who come for businesses, they are taxed, and that is a source of income to the government, source of revenue, and also, so others come for, let me say, just for their own. Others come, they want to come and see with their eyes, adventure, what kind of. So Matters Day actually brings people over, and people have different ways of benefiting out of it.
Okay.
But I think for those who died, they sacrificed and they said, at least they rather die and see their God than believing in someone whom they think is not worse.
Okay.
So they are worth to be commemorated,
Yes.
and have entered into history, and they are heroes, and that will remain. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Andaba Moses, and whoever is watching Elkem TV. I want to appreciate you. Thanks for joining up the show. My name is Urban Brown, and still moving on to this particular show, we're trying to indulge into deep stories that have actually transpired throughout the week. All over the place, I pray that you get into YouTube app, type the word Elkem TV, subscribe, and don't forget to write about your comment to this particular show, and what is your perception towards what is actually happening to the nation. And away from there, moving right back to my scrutinizer, Kangao Yesedi. We actually saw before the commemoration of the Uganda Matters Day, that was on the 3rd June 2024, on Monday. We have actually been seeing a couple of people tracking down from different parts of the world, moving to Namugongo. In regards of the existence of Namugongo, how has Namugongo tried to improve on the standards of people's faith in our country, Uganda, and the world at large?
Well, number one thing that really stood out for me is just one quality, unity. You know,
has called for unity.
Yeah, you know, after those prophets of ours, when they left this faith, we think of prophets like Jesus. We think of prophets like any other ones you can think about. Even the Muslims, the Muhammad. We've had to struggle with the disunity, and that's why at some point you saw that the Protestants had to jump out of Catholic Church. So that they form their own. That was a disunity.
Yes, yeah, it was a disunity.
But did you know, since this martyrdom happened in 1885,
85, yes.
actually it happened because all of them, they were not executed at once.
The same time.
From 1885 up to 1887.
Yes,
they kept on killing them at different intervals. Although the first one that sparked was by Joseph Mukasabali Kudembe. He was executed by the king because he was the leader of Christians within the Ugandan community. But he was executed. Why? Because he was telling the Kabaka not to kill the missionary, the Christian missionary Hannington. So the Kabaka said, so Kumba, I want to kill the other one, Kumba, for you. So he said, okay, let me begin with you.
Yes.
So he slaughtered him seriously. And then others subsequently also were being killed. But my point is, since that incident, since the disunity of Martin Luther, the king who inspired the rebellion from the Catholic Church, we have struggled with disunity, where the Protestants feel the Catholics, okay, we can't we can't eat on the same plate. But since that martyrdom, I saw unity. I keep seeing unity, where now the Catholics and the Protestants, they don't view each other as enemies.
They unite.
There is unity. They are all flocking to the same place. And for me, that is very healthy to watch. Did you see even whites? They also flew in from different countries nearby, Kenya, Congo, everywhere. So for me, that was so healthy to watch.
Okay.
And it is something I would wish to see going on and on. Although I still have now mixed feelings, because now the white people who brought us Christianity, and they taught us to be that loyal to our God, and they taught us to even be ready to die for our God. Again they are back. They are back, and now they are again wanting us to die for homosexuality. Now I don't know what is what from me, what is right from wrong.
Yes.
But the unity for me, it really stood out very well for me.
Okay, thank you very much for actually having that submission towards that news item that actually transpired. That was on 3rd June 2024. Was seeing the commemoration over the Uganda martyrs that died for their faith. That is in Uganda. A couple of things have been said that this Namugongo Shrine, besides being a shrine and whatever, there are actually a couple of things that it have actually supported our country as well. It's a source of tourism, as they say that it's how it sources revenue for our country, for the government, and also a cause for unity from different religions has come together and unite to see that at least they're blessed, they pick blessings, and a lot of things. Right here, that is all that transpired. That was on Monday this very week. And away from that very story, I want us to proceed to another news and come back shortly. Keep locked.
Mchara, why to Madina Education Center? Madina Education Center isomero muno. Nyakana kale kusikiriza muno. Owenkuonkyo no hagenda kutandikira kusoma. Jacho mwana achayonka. Arayonka nasoma kandi nkugenda nokuzala yabandi basatu. Nabo basomera hano Education Center. Abafe. Madina Education Center ngotuseyo olabira ddala Madina eri eyo Middle East na yesomero liri wa Masindi Kabarwana. Madina Education Center isomero ndigondeze lyabo jona abaisiki dena boarding primary school baina nursery section hamuna daycare section. But irexika alabana barahumuraga harume byokusanisa nka toys enungi muno. Ate primary section nayo ya mulembe nnyo abasomesa batendeke bulungi classes zize nyini metron wali dormitories nungi zirimu n'emifaliso. Actually emifaliso bitabo kalamu wamu ne peni byonna bisangayo ebisomero bya bwerere bayina ne school van eyokutambuza abaana. Madina Education Center liri ha musinga gw'obusiramu bayitu tubakusorora dini n'abakristayo bakutangirwa. School fees nizisoboka okwehandikisa kugenda omaiso aisomero eri kusangibwa Nyakibete mairo 3 okuruga Masindi Kafo Road bateirona special class yokukwata kuruhano mutwe kumanye bikusinga hotela ina ina 58 asatu 2 nkaga na mwenda rundi 2 kienda na ina asatu na mukaga 0
Once again, you're welcome back from that short commercial break. You know, as we're proceeding with the show, we will actually have to also be doing some money for our bosses that actually finance this particular show. And I appreciate for their contribution wherever they place and wherever they are, and also trying our best to see that we do as they expected in a way. You know, one more time, I want to appreciate everyone that is onto this very show and remind you that move on to our YouTube app, type Elkem TV and subscribe. Don't forget to write your comment to this particular show and all the news items that have actually transpired throughout this very week. You know, before getting to a break, actually was summarizing with a story that happened at Namugongo Memorial Shrine, whatever. And away from there, I want us to move on to another news item that have actually sparked people's mind this very week. And this very week, we have seen city cleaners in Kampala under URA staging up strike at URA offices that is in Kampala over delayed payments. Actually, this one came about due to the delayed payments that are the cleaners are complaining that it have actually been a span of around 6 months before they receive their monthly payments. This actually called upon attention to come and actually strike over their monies that are actually demanding URA for their work that they do. You know, starting with Kangao yesterday, this very week we saw cleaners in Kampala trying to stage some strikes that is at URA offices over delayed payments. Should we say that URA has gotten no money to pay these officials, because it's been a long span of around 6 months when there is nobody getting salary? And remember, these people have also gotten demands from where they stay. People were crying for rent, school fees, and a couple of things. Should we say that URA has gotten no money for paying these people, or maybe it is something different, or maybe the money is eaten up by officials in the offices, big offices?
Well, there are two things that came to my mind when I saw that news. Number one, it is first of all a pity for those workers, because this economy is not a joke. These are parents who have families, and you know how life in Kampala can be so hostile. Affording rent, especially if you are going 6 months, you're working every morning, and yet there is nothing in the pocket. That's really absurd. We are having children. We just took them back to school, how do you expect them to survive? They are likely now going for loans, and that again just complicates everything. Loans just take away even the small you are left with. But you see, as I said again, it's a pity because this is an organization which really is the backbone of the whole country.
Yes.
Even the government cannot survive without URA because they are the custodians of taxes. They are the ones that collect taxes. So naturally, you would imagine that its workers should not be complaining in any way. They should actually be one of the first ones to be prioritized. But it is possible. In Uganda, anything is possible because even when URA collects the money, it's not the governing body which is responsible again for paying workers. No. They get the money and then they give it to
central government.
Yeah, to the consolidated fund, and then the Minister of Finance is the one in charge, and then even the Minister of Minister of Finance also again has to go to Parliament. Then it is them to
disperse in different communities.
So in case anything like that is to show up, my first blame or my first wondering, I would shift the blame to the permanent secretary of that ministry. I think URA is it? The permanent secretary is the one responsible. So sometimes it so happens that it's just by mistake that it just gets delayed for some technical reasons. But also, some of those big guys delay workers' taxes because they have diverted that money to banks. And then each single month, that money stays there. For them, they keep on getting the what? The returns. It happens. Sometimes they do it deliberately. But in any case, it is so unfortunate again for those workers because usually cleaners in every institution, they're usually the less paid ones. So why do you step on them? Why is it not the director of URA complaining that his salary is not coming? So that is very unfortunate.
Okay,
really.
thank you very much, Mr. Kangao Moses, for having that great submission towards that what happened in Kampala. Moving back right to my extreme right, that is Anama Moses. Anama Moses, we saw actually cleaners in Kampala trying to stage a strike towards their bosses over delayed payments. But my question comes about like we have seen the bosses in URA not demanding or actually staging strikes over their delayed payments. Why is it that these local people or the subordinates are the ones suffering? Should we say that their money is being diverted by these bosses? At the end of the day, they start suffering as subordinates.
This issue of payment, I think it cuts across. Last time even we saw here at the municipality, people were protesting peacefully. They have not got their salaries for almost 3 months. They are going to 4 months, no salaries. So URA always collects revenue and they charge people highly. And I don't know why, because really Kampala Capital City Authority, Kampala has issues and they still have really a milestone to climb, because last time we saw traders protesting and even they defied the president's speeches. So those people actually, I think they have to find and improvise measures on how to see that those people can be paid. I cannot say that really Kampala Capital City authorities don't have money. People are paying a lot of taxes, and people who are working there, they always come early in the morning, they leave their families, they have a lot of things to do. So I think really there might be another issue, but salaries. If someone has worked, that person has to be paid, unless otherwise. But government has money, only that at times, as you stated, money is diverted to other projects, and they look worse that maybe why can't we start from here, and then this one will be later. But which is really not good, because every sector has been allocated money, and money has to be put at where it is supposed to be. But things of being diversionary, if it happens, it is not good, it is illegal. So people, if they have worked, definitely they have to be paid.
Let them be paid.
I think those are some of the terms that they agree on their appointment letters. Now you find that some of those bosses start really defying
Yes.
and also going contrary to the
What
agreement
actually was
with their
in the
workers,
agreement.
which is not good. But I really request that whenever someone, and you have really committed yourself and someone has committed himself to serve and work, please pay that person.
Okay, thank you very much for that great submission. As we're actually moving down to the last minutes of this particular show. News items are always very huge or many, but we actually try to pick the key in news items that have transpired throughout the week. And right here, due to the issue of time, I want us just in 2 minutes to briefly talk about the presidential address. Briefly, yesterday we saw His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, actually opening up the first section. Is it? Briefly.
A section of the 11th Parliament?
Yes, a section of the 11th Parliament. And he also talked about he vote to crash. Briefly, I want us to look at His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni briefly yesterday focused on corruption, and he voted to crush political officials that are actually, corrupt public officials that are corrupting public funds. Briefly, we saw him speaking about this, but into his speech, I don't know, it was a layman's tongue or whatever. I saw him talking of sympathy, and people decide the people that were actually the ministers, whatever, that were attending the function disagreed with it. Said no, if it is sympathy, no, you have to work upon these people. And he actually assured Ugandans that he have actually been hearing rumors of coming from different places that there is corruption, there is what, and he also mentioned that there is one of his officials working to the state, the state house that actually used to extort money from people to actually stage meetings with His Excellency the President, but he said he's already arrested. He also talked about a racket from Minister of Finance to Parliament, people are doing what? Minister of Finance is bringing money in Parliament and financing some things and also holding some shares about that very money. Besides that, he also talked about extortionate money lenders, that these money lenders are actually extorting a lot of money from Ugandans. Their interest is very high. You find an interest being at around 36% of the money that you've taken. It's so very, very high, and actually called upon the Minister of Finance to intervene and actually see that issue is also handled. And lastly, we saw His Excellency also appreciating the work of the Speaker for actually working harmoniously with the executive, that's the three arms of government, for for coming together and passing the rational budget. And in regards to the presidential speech and opening of the first section of the 11th parliament, we also get to see His Excellency will be coming back. That will be on 16th. I think it will be 16th. Yeah, next week on Thursday, it will be 16th. Yeah, that's when you'll be coming back to actually address onto the national budget. But currently, I want us briefly, just in a minute, to talk about which criteria do you see from which criteria do you see the president going to use to curb these corrupt officials in Parliament? Briefly, just in 2 or 1 minute.
No, one thing I want to assure you, there is no corruption scandal in Uganda that takes place without the awareness of the president. Now, in Uganda, we have two corrupt people, two types of corrupt people. Those that have the blessing of the president and those who don't have the blessing of the president. Now, when you hear them that I'm going to crush the corrupt officials, guess he's referring to who? The other ones who don't have his backing and blessing.
Okay.
Now, the other ones who have his backing and blessing, I'm telling you, those ones, even if they took how much, those are the ones to be forgiven. And in that speech, if you heard properly, he also mentioned that there is a category. He used the two languages. He said there is a category he said, who do it by mistake.
Yes. So that's when the harmony wanted to come.
Now, those ones is branding by mistake. Are those to be forgiven? But there are also those he branded dishonest. Those are just two different words to just tell you. This one's by mistake are my people. I can't do anything about it. I forgive them. The dishonest ones, those ones. Like, for example,
yes.
Just one quick example.
Just in a minute.
You have, since you've been in this country, you have seen big people, untouchable. Someone embezzled money for Global Fund.
Untouched.
One. What happened to him? He just got promotions. Those ones have the blessing. Now, even the Babati recently,
yes,
you have seen the speaker ate. The Minister of Finance, Kasaija, Kasaija ate.
But
what has happened?
Yes.
They were just praising them. Thank you for working with the cabinet.
Okay.
Now, how about Kitutu?
Yes, and Grace. Okay.
Jail.
Thank you very much, Mr. Andaba Moses. Sorry, Kanga, for having that submission. Mr. Andaba Moses, briefly, I want you to talk about this news item and have your last submission to the viewers of Elkem TV. We saw actually His Excellency, the President of the Ugandan government, or Uganda, addressing the nation yesterday, and he talked about corruption. Briefly about corruption, we expected His Excellency to talk about the issue that is of the sanctions of the speaker, but we saw nothing, only that he was praising and appreciating the work of the speaker. What do you see there in regards to corruption?
Yeah, corruption will never end. It will depend on how really the leaders will fight for it. But the president has been condemning corruption for years. It is now how many, 30 years plus. Corruption is still continuing. So what are the criteria that they will come out with to ensure that people, corruption will end? Because in most cases, even you find you are bribing someone in order to get a position. Now who is corrupt? We have seen, like for example, your child performs well here in Masindi in a government school, but you want to take the child to where? King's College, Budo, maybe in secondary. But for your child to get a position there, you want to pay the director to give position to your child. Who is corrupt?
Ugandans.
Ugandans are corrupt.
The government is corrupt.
And the government is corrupt also.
Everyone.
They are government officials
yes.
who are giving bribes.
Yes.
They get from people and people give them bribes.
Okay.
So corruption will not end and maybe it will reduce slightly. But corruption to end,
it's impossible.
It is impossible.
Okay, Mr. Andaba Moses, I pray you have your last submission to the viewers of Elkem TV and we get to sign out of
our viewers of Elkem TV, whoever has been with us, we appreciate and thank you so much for always dedicating your time to us. We appreciate. Without you, we are not there. Catch us again next time, if God wishes.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Andaba Moses, for coming through and being live onto the sites of Elkem TV and being onto the panel and having that great contribution towards today's show. And one more time, moving right back to Kangao Yeseri, pray you just have your last submission to the viewers of Elkem TV and we actually get to sign out of here.
Yeah, I've been Kangao yesterday. Thank you so much for the data you have really sacrificed. And thank you for the time. Thank you for the company. And thank you for loving the Elkem TV. And please, even next time, do the same. In just one second, I want to also use this opportunity to send my greetings to my friend Salim and younger Geno, opposite Coca-Cola there. Yeah, I really love you so much. Soon I'll be coming. We really see how to push our programs forward. But also, finally, I greet all the deaf community in Masindi district. I love you so much and I salute you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kangao Yeseri, for coming through and being onto the panel and actually having a great contribution towards this particular show of Agafiire Wiki. One more time, I want to appreciate everyone that has actually been onto this very show every single Friday from the hours of 5 to the hours of 6. We're right here giving you what has actually transpired throughout the week. But before I get into my last things, I pray that Mr. Producer, if there is any message from the viewers, actually get to pass it through. But if it's not there, and I actually take this opportunity to appreciate you one more time, whoever's actually kept watching. Thanks for actually having been onto the site of Elkem TV. And today is as we get into the weekend, we are actually looking forward to have the Heroes Day. That will be actually officiated in Gomba district. That will be on 9th on Sunday. You know, right away from here, I want to appreciate you all that have been there. Thanks for actually loving Elkem TV. Thanks for having the contribution and wherever the place you've been watching it from. Thanks very much.